few minutes after the last of the vehicles has drawn up, the Esso team take over. The village elder is summoned and asked to gather together the most important people in the village, but only them. Then the expert makes his appearance. Last-minute preparations, expectantly followed by everyone.
The reason the project is here is that Esso wants to look deep into the earth to see if there is more petroleum in the earth below.
La raison de ceci est Esso que pour passer pétrole dans le Sine to assez godo.
And to do that, they have brought big machines that will move through the vegetation and take a picture of the earth below, of the rocks way down in the earth. And then they will know if there is sufficient oil to maybe in the future develop a project. Maybe there is no oil, maybe there is, but that is what we are here to find out.
We ask around and no one seems to have any objections. Quite the opposite.
Si le pétrole, ça existe le Tchad, tout le monde sera bien et développé.
Oui, ça vous plaît s'il vient ici?
Oui, ça nous plaît beaucoup. Quand la recherche du pétrole arrive, il trouve quelque chose, ça nous convient. Tous les enfants du Tchad, nous serons riches.
Ah oui. Vous êtes d'accord si on vient ici pour chercher du pétrole?
Si vous venez pour chercher le pétrole, c'est le bien que le pétrole nous arrive. Le pétrole va nous amener du bien pour le Tchad et pour les autres pays aussi.
A few kilometers away, a camp of geologists. They've marked out a new section of land. In their search for new oil deposits, they use ultra-modern equipment to sound out the land square meter by square meter.
After this one, we will go 103, and we will do 102, 104, 106, then move to the other area. The last season, earlier in this year, we were crossing this river with the vehicles. At the moment, it's impossible.
How promising is it for you, to find oil here?
Well, I believe it's quite promising. I believe we have a lot of areas which are unexplored in this area. We are actually working on an area where work been done on the previous season, previous years. And what we do now is more a detailed image of the underground of the.
The data gathered from the explorations are sent via satellite direct to the laboratory at headquarters in America's oil metropolis, Houston. There, they're evaluated by experts, but even they can't be 100% certain that what they see on the screen represents an oil layer.
If we do find hydrocarbons, they should be here in this crustal zone. In this reflector package, you see these bright reflectors kind of dimming out over the crest of this feature. This is one likely place to find hydrocarbons.
Oil entrepreneur Jean Van Dyke estimates the chances of deep-sea drilling striking it lucky in Africa at about 50-50. The only region worth trying, he thinks, is off the west coast of Africa. He's currently represented in 7 countries, with the focus on explorations in the Gulf of Guinea, activities which Washington is happy to support.
The U.S. government is becoming a lot more cognizant of the value of production from that area. And so they do help. I do keep in close contact. I have a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. We keep close contact with the government.
The capital investment needed for developing a large new oil field is somewhere near 2 billion euros, according to Van Dyke. For his latest exploration, he's teamed up with Washington's toughest competition. A Chinese company is involved in the financing. Investing capital in a politically relatively insecure region like Africa is not viewed as risky by Van Dyke.
There's a difference between being onshore, being on the shelf, and being in deep water. If you're in deep water, you're far enough out there where they really don't bother you. You're out of sight. You're not dependent upon onshore because your deep water platforms or facilities are completely independent of what's going on onshore. And so you're really not bothered by if there is a change of government, the new government wants the income that comes from your oil. Take countries like Angola, they've had a civil war for basically about 25 years, and it's never affected their offshore activity, which is increasing all the time.
Cabinda, Angola's oil enclave on the Gulf of Guinea. Traditionally one source for meeting America's oil needs. But since early 2005, the Chinese have been gaining ground here too. The Angolan government has signed a contract guaranteeing oil deliveries to Peking and granting concessions for future drilling operations. The global race for oil has become riskier. The U.S. Naval War College in Newport. One of the professors here is among the most influential strategists in American military planning and was involved in the recent restructuring of the U.S. Armed Forces. He believes there's a region of risk stretching from Asia via the Middle East to Africa, an area of danger that has to be eradicated. This is the argument in his book, The Pentagon's New Map.
Does this mean more wars? No, I think it requires the United States in many ways to bring a Europe, a Russia, a developing Asia into the reality that the United States has been dealing with across this non-integrating gap for the last 15 years. We have been intervening in 10 or 12 situations every year for the last 15 years. That's how you get those 150 interventions. And in many ways what we need to do is to move off the model that says the U.S. does all the military interventions, maybe we get the Europeans to do the peacekeeping afterwards, and maybe we get the Japanese to pay for it.
A form of cooperation already tried out in the Horn of Africa. Here the Americans asked for the support of the German Navy, officially in the battle against terrorism. But critics say that this battle is often indistinguishable from the protection of American oil interests.
The term I use is it's being transformed into a global oil protection service. That is, that more and more of the military is being